Welcome to Framer Dive. I came across a very interesting animation and I want to show you how to do it in Framer. And the animation that I came across was from this website called dreamshot.bg. And as you can see, we have these two yellow cards looking at us, and down here we can see click me. So if I click this card, I want you to observe and see what happens. So if I click this card, as you can see, the card kind of goes behind the other cards. Then if I click this, it goes behind, I get to see another card. I click this, I get to see another card. I click this, I get to see another card. Nice. So as you can see, this happens very nicely, and it's a very enticing way to engage your audience and engage your viewers as they visit your website. So imagine scrolling and then interacting with this bunch of cards, how interesting it is. So I can tell you that we can do this, and we can create this in Framer without writing a single line of code. So let me show you how to do this, and even more, I'm gonna add a little bit of a zest to it. What I want, as you can see, when I click this card, it kind of goes behind it, and to me it doesn't look as realistic as it should be. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create this similar concept, but now mine, when I click a card, you're gonna see the card is gonna rise up and then it's gonna go behind the stack of cards. It's like shuffling cards. Okay, so let me just show you, and at the end of the video I'll also give you a challenge so you can practice it yourself. So without further ado, let's get this started. My name is Joe and this is Framer Dive. Let's get started. So this is my Framer workspace, and as you can see, I only have my header here and my footer like page where I'll have this remix file below. You can remix it, and you can also do the challenge that I'm gonna leave for you. So as you can see, this is my desktop, and I won't make it responsive. It's just a desktop, and it's meant for you to practice what we are trying to create. So the first thing I want to show you here, under my desktop I have my hero, and the hero is actually this whole part here, but you can just name it another name, but I've just decided to name it the hero. This whole part, it's quite long, and then inside it I have this header, then I have this card section where I'm gonna place in my cards, and then the footer. This is actually the footer. So let's go directly to where we need to create this. So I want you to make sure your card section has a layout, and mine has a layout. Hold F on your keyboard and create any card. And so I'm gonna try and make it like any sizing. So I'm gonna use 265, and let me just use 320. 265 and 320. Okay, so now let me add a color so you can see what I have. So this is my first frame. So in this frame, I'm gonna call it my cards. I'm gonna call this the cards container. So basically this is where I'm gonna place in my bunch of cards, and then I also want to make sure the sizing of this frame is locked. So I'm gonna lock this. As you can see, it changes from gray to blue, so it means that if I increase this, the aspect ratio is gonna increase together. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add my cards inside, but I think this cards container is a little bit small, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, like 314, 380 is okay. Then I'm gonna hold F on my keyboard, and I'm gonna draw a frame inside here. I draw a frame inside it, and then I'm gonna go to my cards container. I'm just gonna get rid of this color because we don't need it as much, and then go to the frame that we've just drawn and now put a color on it. So then now we have a cards container and a frame inside it. So I'm gonna call this my card 1. Okay, so now we have card 1. So what you can see, this card is pinned to the center, and that's what we want. So you can hold Alt H and V to position it at the center. So Alt H V is a shortcut so that any frame is positioned at the center of its parent. Nice. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my card, and I'm just gonna rotate it slightly a bit to the left, like I'm gonna give it like -5 degrees, okay? And then I'm gonna take this same card and I'm gonna duplicate it. Now as you can see, we have two cards here. I'm gonna call this card, let me call it card 2, and then I'm gonna give it another color so we can differentiate the two cards. I'm gonna give it like a red color, and then I'm gonna just come here and rotate it a bit to 4 degrees. That's okay, to the right. So the reason why I'm rotating like this is so that we can see what is behind it. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna create card 3, and I'm gonna call it card 3. And then this card 3, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna pick any random color, and then I'm gonna make sure, as you can see, the reason why you can't see card 3 is because it's behind the red card. So you need to come to the Z index, come to the styling, check the Z index and give it a Z index of, since we have 1, 2, 3, let's give it a Z index of 3 because it's above 3. And then let's give this one a Z index of 2. Let me give it a Z index of 2. And then the first one, of course, let's give it a Z index of 1. So basically a Z index, the higher the index, the higher the positioning of the card. So the Z index of 1 is very much below the other cards. So now here we have card 3, and then we're also gonna rotate it a bit so you can see this card again. And as you can see, when I'm rotating, this card is kind of getting eaten here. This is because we need to go to the parent frame, and we need to set the parent frame to overflow visible. So overflow visible means that any of the children inside it is going to be seen outside it. So come here to overflow settings and click overflow visible. That's perfect. And then I'm just gonna do again, I'm gonna create the 4th card. So I'm gonna create the 4th card here. That's perfect. Okay, and then I'm gonna also make sure the 4th card has a 4 index, and I'm gonna give it another color. Perhaps I can give it like a blue color. Let me get it a little bit lighter, and then I'm just gonna rotate it now to this other part, so at least now you can see what we're dealing with. So I'm gonna just give it like that. I think this is okay. So now remember, I'm just gonna use 4 cards for now. If you wish to use more, it's also very much possible. So just know that every card has kind of the same animation. I'm gonna show you how to create it. So I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna duplicate the cards container. So that we have 2 cards. So but now we're just gonna focus on this one. So now I'm gonna come to this one, and what I'm gonna do here is I am gonna make this cards container and turn it into a component. Thereby we can create a component and some variants to it so we can see the animation. So hold Ctrl Alt K on your keyboard, or Command Alt K if you're on a Mac, and Command Option K, and then create. And then so I have now my cards container here. So now this is where the magic happens. So basically what will happen here is gonna be reflected on the home page. But let's go back to our component section. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna first create the second variant. So now we've created a second variant, and what we want is, remember, we want, when I click this card, I want it to rise up and go behind the cards. So now there we have 2 states. We have the state where the card rises, and we have the state where the card goes behind the other bunch of cards. So we're gonna start with the state where the card rises. So come to the positioning of this card, and I want you to drag up like this. Drag it up. Let me just open it a bit. So I just want you to drag it up, give it like Let me give it like 3 negative 380. So give it like negative 380. That's okay. So now what happens is our card, which is card 4, it starts to comes up. Okay, and now the second part is when we want this card comes behind this stack of cards. So I'm just gonna create another variant here, and now in this state, of course, we want this card to go back to its original position, which I think it was 0. Let me see, the original position was 15, so I need to get it back to 15. Okay, nice, like that. So what we have here, but now as you can see, we also need to make sure it's behind. So I just need to hold this card, and I need to give it a z index of 1. So remember, the higher the z index, the higher its positioning on the stack of cards. So since here we wanted to drag it to z index 1, and remember we had another card in z index 1, so we need now to change every single card and give them a different z index. So let's go to card 1, which had a z index of 1. So now, because we have replaced this purple color with 1, the card 1 now rises to, it rises like a step higher, and then the card 2 again also rises a step higher from 2 to 3, and then card 3 now, which was at 3, now becomes 4. As you can see, very simple. So basically, you know, that's what happened. So now I'm just gonna show you it happening. So I'm gonna click this card 4, and I want you to hold L on your keyboard, and I want you to drag it to variant 2, and then on click we want to come to variant 2. That's okay. And then I want you to come now to variant 2. Okay, and make sure you click variant 2, not the cards, and I want you to drag it all the way to variant 3, and then the animation here will be interaction on appear. Okay, so let's go to variant 2 and make sure that the animation here is on appear, which is okay, and we want to have a 1 second delay, and then we want it to go to variant 3. That's okay. So let me show you what happens. So when I click this, it goes up and it comes down. Okay, let me show you again. When I click it, it goes up and it comes down, but now we have a slight delay. We want to get rid of that basic delay, so I'm gonna come here to my animation transition, and I don't want this to happen very fast, so I'm gonna give it like a 3-second time. So I want it to kind of rise up, give us that feeling of it rise and then it falling. So instead of just going once very quickly, I'm just gonna give it that more of a 3 seconds. So just see what happens. So when I click this, it goes up and it comes down. Again, let me show you. It goes up and it comes down. Interesting. But as you can see, I think we need to get this purple color just slightly high. So I'm just gonna come here and I'm gonna give it a negative 400. I think that's much better. Or let me give it a negative 390, that it's not that high. So then I'm gonna do the same for the other cards, and so I'm gonna come to the variant 3, and I'm gonna add a variant. So remember, again, just as we did here, we started by getting to the blue color, which is the highest color, and remember it has a z index of 4, and we're gonna drag it up all the way to negative 390, which is our positioning. And then we need to now create another variant, and then remember this needs to come down, so you need to give it 15 here. So give it 15, and then remember we need to take it back. So this one now becomes 1, so take it all the way back to 1. Remember 1 is our base card, and then we need to come now to the other stack of cards. So let's start with the gray one. Let's start with this card, which is I think it's this gray one. Sorry, let's start with this card 2. So card 2, as you can see, it was on index 3, so we need to take it up, so we need to give it Z4. Okay, then we go to card 1, which was on Z index 2, so we need to take it up to 3 index. And then card 4 is the one that I think card 4, yeah, is a purple color, which was at 1, so we need to take it to the index 2. And then remember, we had changed now card 3 to index 1. So now we're gonna add the same interactions. Okay, so let me just show you again. So I'm gonna hold L on my keyboard and I'm just gonna drag it to variant 4, on click, remember on click, and then I'm gonna do the same here for this one. Remember, hold the main parent container and you want to add an interaction, new transition on appear. So we want, when this variant 4 appears, we want it to just stay for like a second, and then I want you to switch back to variant 5. So we won't click anything when we get to variant 4, but it just on appear after a second, it switches to variant 5. That's very simple. And so I think that's pretty much it. So now if I view my first card, as you can see, it comes really nice. And when I click this again, it goes up and it goes down. Isn't that interesting? So that is the same thing that you need to do for the rest of the 2 cards. That is this one. So I'm just gonna do it very quickly and I'll get back to you. Okay, so what we've done the same thing. We've done basically the same thing. Remember, here is on click, here is on appear, and then this one is static. So now something happens. So let me show you what we have. So when I click this, it goes behind. When I click this, it goes behind. When I click this, it goes up and goes behind. When I click this, it goes up and goes behind. Interesting. But now when I click this, it also goes behind. When I click this, it 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 goes behind. So we have recreated the animation, which is very interesting. So remember, this variant 9, we also make sure when we get to variant 9, when it appears, we want it to go to the first variant so that it immediately switches to the first variant, that we can start clicking, and that way we can like loop around. So now let me show you what we can see on the home page is so now, as you can see on the home page, so if I come here and I want to click here, I can see this nice interaction. So now this is the other card, I can click it and it goes behind, and then this is the other card, I click it and it goes behind, and this is the other card, I click it and it goes behind, and the user can click it and they can just continue scrolling, and when they get back they can continue where they left off. So that's pretty much it. Now my challenge for you is, I want you to recreate this other part. You notice nothing happens here when I click it, but I'm sure you can do something about it. So you can recreate this other section or this container, and perhaps you can also be more creative. Perhaps instead of using colors, you can use images, and also if you want to go even a little bit more deeper, you can add some shadows. You can even more deeper turn these cards into a 3D like cards, and that is just how you get good in Framer. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you learned something. As always, link the remix file below and you can check it out, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.